So The Grudge is one of the newest and very first films of 2020 that I just attended a screening for. Got finished about an hour ago. And what I can say is the 2020 version of The Grudge is a mostly solid yet average horror film reboot. It is, in my personal opinion, it is well directed and focused, but it lacks every single facet of imagination in horror. Now, with that being said, I still think it can be very artistic of a film. It's not a cinematic masterpiece by any means. It relies way too heavily on jump scares. The effects are chilling and creepy. The atmosphere is the same as aforementioned. There are times when it's poorly written. There are times when it's okay writing. I think the direction is solid the whole way through. I think it focuses very well on what it wants to achieve, the vision. If you go into it thinking it's a straightforward film, you might be a little disappointed because it's actually 3 or 4 mini stories involved in a central main story that intertwine by the very end. And personally, I actually was intrigued with the story. I actually like the narrative of it. It all centers around a house from Japan, a curse from a ghost that is extended into a house in America, and every person that steps foot in that said home ends up with the ghost curse. And personally, I believe the Grudge ghost curse is revolved around just people being afraid of creepy things. By that I mean they'll see a creepy chilling picture, vision, or person right in front of them and looks all disgusting and whatnot, and that creeps them out, and it happens to them their entire life until they end up killing themselves. Well, I'm not saying that it's real, but if curses like that happen, then it really only happens, it could happen to everybody if they're real. My thing is it doesn't happen to many people because most people aren't afraid of it. I mean, back in the 70s, films like this would be completely terrifying. But my personal opinion, nowadays we're desensitized to any kind of horror element. Every morning we wake up, oh, hey, there's another mass shooting, school shooting, church shooting. Oh, there's a pedophile right there on the street that just got arrested. Oh, it's a priest or whatever. So honestly, when it comes to the film The Grudge on its own, it's not necessarily its fault for lacking any sort of horror because everybody's desensitized to horror elements nowadays. But my personal opinion on the Grudge film itself is I think it's a well-directed and focused, mostly poorly written, very, very bland horror film. I think it's a good psychological thriller more than a horror film. It's really, the jump scares can be effective in horror, but they're improper in this film. They're used way too often. There's an abundance of them. You see every single jump scare a mile away, like 2 to 5 minutes before it even happens. You know what's going to happen, exactly what's going to happen. It's predictable. The acting, for the most part, it's okay, it's solid. Like I said, I actually was intrigued with the story. So The Grudge 2020, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. It's not bad, but it's not good. It's average. It's an average horror film. I think it should have been classified as a psychological thriller. Then yeah, I believe going in thinking it's a psychological thriller, you will be more entertained. That doesn't really constitute its awful jump scares that don't even work. But hey, it's still a very creepy, atmospheric film with at least an okay central storyline. So 5 out of 10. Thank you.